It's Footy and Frothies. We're back to the Grey Gums Hotel in Penrith. Daggy and Danaan with you. Get stuck into all of the action from round 20. Have looked to round 21 a bit later. What's going on, mate?
Not much, mate. It's good to be out. Good to see you in person again instead of just over.
Bit weird. It's been a while since we've done this.
It's been a while. So looking forward to what's coming up on the show tonight. You forgot to mention Origin.
I did forget to mention Origin.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Quickly, how are you? How's baby? How's everything else?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking. School holidays are over, so the kids are back at school. We had a great time when I had the boys over. So, and then work's work. It's still there. It's still ticking along.
Work is in fact work, at least for another 4 weeks, and then I'll work something else out. That's a different story to tell. As we said, good to be back here live. Thanks everyone tuning in. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes Radio, iTunes TuneIn Radio, all those good places you can find us. Let's go back all the way to last Wednesday and talk about Origin. 14-4, New South Wales over the Maroons. What a fantastic first half.
Best half I think I've ever seen.
Of footy?
In footy.
In spite of the refereeing?
It was just the collisions.
Yeah.
They did not stop. It was just constant.
Yeah.
If you're going to sell the product, that's the game to sell them. Which is hard because it's obviously not like that every week.
Yeah.
But that was amazing.
I thought it was gripping. I had my kids. We watched it. They stayed up and watched the whole game. The half flew by. It was just, as you said, gripping, fantastic. Rugby league at its best.
Yeah.
I think the best players trying to man up and take each other on. There was sort of a half unwritten. No one stayed down.
No,
there was no
milking.
There was no milking for the whole half, which added to it. Ashley Klein tried his best at times.
He did kind of let things go.
Yeah.
Which, in the ruck, but it needed to.
Yeah.
Because they were just so. It was barbaric.
Yeah.
And if he really started pinging him, I think the game would have lost its momentum.
Yeah.
Whereby allowing him to just
very quickly.
Allowing him to lay on the ruck and just it sort of just allowed it to flow. Because even though the play of the balls was slow for what you would class in an Origin game, it still was a very fast half of football.
Yes.
And it was, I guess, job well done to Ashley. One of the biggest talking points was definitely the sin bins.
Yeah.
Cameron Murray, I think.
You said straight away should have been a send-off?
Well, if you get involved in anything and you're on the bench, it's a send-off. And Queensland are coming out, and they're still out this week saying that he should have been sent, and I got to admit I can understand it. Ola Kawado getting 2 weeks from not even being on the bench. I think he's extremely lucky.
Yes.
If you do that in park football, it's
season, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
Well, put it this way, it really, and it's extreme, it's technically no different to if you're playing at Doonside and you jump the fence and go and knock someone out, is it?
100%.
So, and what would you get there? If not life,
in the Penrith district, you probably would get 10 years. So to only get 2 weeks, I think Manly and Ola Kawada were very lucky there. It does bring in the argument about should players suffer for their NRL clubs?
Yeah.
Should Murray if something's done that bad in Origin, should they just miss the next potential Origin if they're going to be selected again?
Or representative football.
So, which I can kind of understand.
There is, end of the day, and I think Andrew Webster wrote a good article about it yesterday, if not day before, possibly a bit older, about how, end of the day, people come to Origin for the Blues, for those collisions, for that sort of thing, and and they've done, I think they did record ratings again, and this and that. It almost needs to be treated as its own different animal, I think.
I feel like it just should come down to suspensions on, what do they get, 30 grand a game?
Yeah.
I think
fine them, or 15 grand.
I think that's what it should. And if it's that bad, you don't get match payment.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So fine, 5, 10, 15 grand instead of...
Yeah, I think that's what it should come down to.
Yeah.
I'm not the one playing. I'm not the one that's getting the 30 grand check, so I don't know how I'd feel about it. Do I want to miss 30 grand to represent my states, from our position? Yeah, sure. I'd love to be good enough to have played for New South Wales. I'd take it for free.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what you want.
Yeah.
You want your players to say, "Yeah, I'm just going to represent the jersey."
Exactly.
I'll take it.
And some will and some won't.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's especially this time of year. South, they've got a chance to make the finals. Manly are fighting for a top 4 spot now. And
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely, especially with Luke Brooks involved in that side.
He was good in the weekend, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. But
Yeah, I know you're saying it's a tricky one. Thinking about it, I've come around this like I've not missed New South Wales or missed Queensland. A lot of times I like the Queensland team individually a lot more than some of the New South Wales players. But I love the game. I thought the narrative of the whole series was fantastic. Sort of the redemption of Luai, redemption of Moses. That sounded very biblical. The redemption of a few other players along the way was fantastic. I think it, and the fact I think it does so much damage to the regular season though that I would be happy to. I've reached a point where I'd rather they just shut the comp down. We've said this before, or play it in November.
Yeah,
like they did.
I think there's, especially with more teams coming into the comp, I feel like a change is coming.
Well, I think they want, from what I was reading today, they want 20 teams, so they can play 19 rounds. Everyone plays each other once. Then they can have a 3-week rep period. Then they can have whatever at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Done and dusted inside the 24 weeks. And you know what? I'd probably be okay with that.
I believe. Well, to be fair, it'd be the fairest draw that we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
If they play each other once, and then I guess the following season, if you were home one year, you're away the next.
Mm-hmm. Sounds fair to me. And build towards, I guess, what the NFL do. You play each other once. It's a big. Every game's a bigger game.
That's it.
You get your one blockbuster, your Penrith Brisbane. You get your one Roosters Brisbane. You get your one.
And that should bring more fans to the games.
I think so. Yeah, I'm coming around to it, and I think, and even doing this as long as I've done with Barn and now with yourself, you get fatigued 23, 24 rounds in. Even though it's good that the comp starts picking up, but there does get a point where you're just like, I'm ready for Big Bash now.
Yeah,
I'm ready for cricket. And then the same thing happens at the end of the cricket season.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it does overstay its welcome a little bit. And I know there's been World Cups and there's been COVID in the last few years, but I reckon I can see the light. I don't think it's... And this year, I think it's been highlighted that there's not... all the teams are weaker, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the comp's still entertaining enough.
Yes.
And I can see... where if they want to head towards 20 teams, a set rep period, like we said last week, fly England out, have some Pacific Island games, and run with that, I reckon I'd probably be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
In and of the game itself, we talked about collisions. I thought starting off, Pat Carrigan, you could see very clearly Queensland made a point that they got bullied in game 2 and they wanted to be physical.
Yes.
But I think that's like all they talked about. It felt like that's their whole game plan. Carrigan was the guy trying to lead that.
And Tommy did.
And Tommy did, and
Jeez,
it was fantastic.
he was amazing.
It was like, we've got to match them. But after that, there wasn't much of a game plan, I didn't think.
Well, they had nothing in attack. I don't remember the last time they didn't score a try. And even with all their dominance, the collisions, they weren't winning them because we were still making the meters.
No, they were still bouncing off. It was like they were up and they were still trying to hit hard and hit, but they were still trying to hit chest up and not dominating tackles.
I guess that's the modern game now. It's if you don't wrap them, the ball will be offloaded or they'll be able to bounce away. So they were all for just. It was almost like I'm just going to try and belt you and hope you hit the ground.
That's exactly what I felt.
And the belting happened.
And the fact it lasted 40 minutes of that was incredible.
Yeah,
because it felt after 10 you're like okay, but then they kept at it.
And they did. They kept belting, but to New South Wales' credit, they just kept moving forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a game. What a game.
What I guess individually, well, Mitch Moses, what do you make of him?
He
wasn't as dominant as game 2.
He wasn't as dominant.
But I thought his kicking was quite good.
He out-kicked Cleary. Out-kicked DCE.
Yeah. Just through length. And I think we've seen a modern game. We see with Burton a bit as well. If you don't have a 70-metre kicker, it's very, very hard to change momentum.
100%. And he sort of... he didn't overplay his hand.
Yeah.
But I felt like he could have done a little bit more with the amount of possession that we had on their line. But even you see that in the NRL. If you're on their line, that's the hardest part on the field to score.
Yeah. I think it's almost like it's accepted now. They're happy. A lot of teams happy just to pin in the 1 metre rather than risk a 7 tackle.
Exactly. But New South Wales, and they've since come out and said, like, we just stay on top, keep doing what we're doing. Sooner or later they'll tire, and that's when he took full effect with that individual try. But from a fan's perspective, obviously it would have been great if we could have scored a couple more tries. But he done what he needed to do, and he's only the third New South Wales Origin halfback to do it.
Yep. Iluai was fantastic. His running game was good. From where he was at the start of the year, it's actually incredible what Jerome Luai's achieved, at least in my eyes this year, because I was comparing him, made the comparisons last year.
The Tiger lenses are on already.
But he's had a phenomenal season.
He has.
What he produced both of those games. And he wasn't bad in game 1 either, actually. He just had Nico over. He had the Nico anchor next to him.
Yeah.
You can't now. Cleary's got work to do to get back into that halves combination.
A lot of social media, when I say a lot, like from what I've seen anyway, they're saying Moses Cleary, and I don't think you can. I both think they're too dominant. It's got to be one or the other. And just the simple fact that they've won, I almost don't care how bad Moses is going next year. He gets game 1 because it works.
I think the only way he doesn't if Para running last,
but it'd have to be,
and it's a complete shit show.
But they're running last this year, and it's a shit show.
That's true. That is true. I have been a proponent for Cleary going to 6 in Origin.
Yeah,
I've talked about. We've talked about this season.
But Luai deserves it.
Yeah, but Luai deserves it.
And he's going to Tigers, and what if they're a shit show as well?
Again, so you potentially could be picking, as it stands now, you're picking
the
dominant halves out of the second last team.
But they shown how good they are if they're in the right teams.
Yeah,
and that's what it is at the end of the day.
It's a very interesting thing. I don't have an answer for it. I can see a world where Cleary plays 6. I could see a world where Cleary plays 6 for Penrith with Luai at 7.
Like,
it's not going to happen now.
Cleary could be.
But
Cleary's probably playing
easily a better 7 than he is a 6.
Yeah.
In my humble now.
But Cleary's probably playing for Australia as the 7 at the end of the year.
Could be Australian captain.
Yeah, but then I still don't have him game 1 for Origin next year.
Isn't it funny you mention that? Isn't it funny how 6 weeks ago, when his first Origin team comes out, we said the Queensland team's the Australian team.
Yep.
And what the hell are these nerds on the other side? Now it's inconceivable, really, that almost anyone from that Queensland team makes a team.
Whoa.
Carrigan does.
The couple make it because of
Dearden's unlucky not to, but he's probably behind Cleary and co.
Dearden probably does, though, because Luai plays Pacific Islands.
Yeah.
Same with
Carrigan does, and I guess it's what you do if you props, I suppose. If you want to.
But that's the thing. Due to just,
and Hammer's the only other one I could almost come up with.
But that's what I mean. A lot of just due to who they choose to play for, and the fact that a lot of them don't play for Australia. Stephen Crichton, perfect example. Toto, another one. But Dylan Edwards, man of the match. He's got to be.
I'm not begrudging him man of the match. I thought he did spend good 25 minutes looking very much like James Tedesco for a lot of it. There's a lot of dead, but his second half was fantastic.
100% it was.
When Fatigue said, and he was great. And I'm not knocking him.
But
there's every chance Mal still goes with Teddy as Australian captain. It wouldn't shock me because he's loyal and
very much so.
Teddy's not done a lot wrong. Isaiah's fantastic.
Yes,
he was outstanding and essentially captained the team for 60 minutes every game. Mitch Barnett had to drop on after 5 minutes. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal.
He's built for Origin.
Yeah, it just is.
I was so happy for his selection, and geez, he played amazing.
And he stamped it like he has to be there next year.
Yep.
And I thought he was incredible because he got thrown in at 3 separate occasions. They just said, "Get out there, Mitch," and he was great every time.
Yeah, he would have had the game plan of I might be lucky to be on in the first half to being on within the first couple of minutes,
and was fantastic. I thought when you're lining up Origin Australian back rowers, hard not to pick him.
He's got to at least he's so valuable because he can be the prop or he can be a back rower. He has to be on the bench.
You know who he is now? And God bless him, but he's the better Jake Trbojevic.
Yes.
Jake was always in these teams for this reason, and he does what Jake can do, but at a different level.
Yes.
At this stage of the game.
Yes, definitely.
Angus Crichton, man of series, rightfully so. Another redemption story.
Agreed.
I was so happy for him, and people that listen to the show know how great he's been in my eyes, apart from last year for many years.
Zach Lomax.
Zach Lomax,
Wow.
I thought
that
probably should have been man of series.
But yeah, well, due to Moses not playing game one,
Yeah,
it was a flip of the coin between Lomax and
because I
Angus.
thought game one when he was
amazing.
He was great in game one.
Yeah.
Having a double team out there on the edge.
He was amazing in game two.
Game two is phenomenal. His kicking was amazing, and game three
Again,
he was as good as anyone else.
Yeah.
He's now in the conversation of best winger in the game, and he really should be. Whatever's going to happen next year, and I know Riles has come out, and we'll get to the news in a sec, and said Talangi will be the fullback, apparently. It is the media, but he should be sending a box of chocolates to Flanagan for putting him on the wing, because I don't think he ever gets close to this.
No.
If he stays in the centres at
I
St
don't
George.
believe so either.
Who else did I mention? The other guy I want to mention is Stephen Crichton.
Is he the next New South Wales captain? Unless
it's Yo or Cleary. They're the only three.
Yeah.
But I thought he was phenomenal in this game. He's the world's best centre.
Yes.
He has an aura now. To me, watching this game, he has an aura now. He gets that face on and he gets a bit angry, and I thought he was outstanding in this game defensively. I thought he was outstanding in attack. And obviously, we'll talk about what he's done at Bulldogs later, but in this game, he just felt like a superstar. Like, I was watching yesterday, and he's the best player on this field at certain times.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're not wrong. I think, whether it's Cleary, whether it's Yo, I think he's next, if it's not one of those two, or all three. But I thought he was the other guy I really wanted to mention, because what he's gone to, and I always thought he was a very good player, but I think he's reached a different level now. You talk about your best defensive centres and that sort of thing. I think he probably is.
I can't think of a better. Put it that way.
Any other takeaways from Origin?
No, it was Madgy's done it all now.
He has. So World Cup, World Series, whatever the Tri-Series.
He's won in England. He broke the hoodoo with the Rabbits.
Yeah.
He won for New Zealand. He's now won the unwinnable for New South Wales.
Couldn't get Tigers out of a spoon.
Well,
it's the only big blotch on his record.
Well, so the thing is with that, he's shown that if the players are willing to listen, he's the right man for the job.
You can forgive from the point of view that.
And he did get rid of. He got rid of Madison.
Well, the board is a complete basket case.
That's it.
At that time, he was trying to get rid of Nofaluma, who's Pasco's best mate.
Yep.
He was trying, and he get harmed. If Madge was there, if Madge had the Tigers right now, with Richo in charge, I reckon it's a different story.
100%.
With Luai coming, all of a sudden you go, and who has just won an Origin under him?
Yeah.
It's a whole different story.
Definitely.
It's almost like, to be honest, it's almost like they should go back and beg him to come and assistant coach Benji. But anyway, we'll try not to spend too much time on the Tigers tonight. But yeah, that's the only blotch. But I think the club has been such a basket case, and there's only slight light at the end of the tunnel now after 10 years. So can forgive that. Queensland, we spent a lot of time in New South Wales. Like I said, I think you've mentioned them. Carrigan, Dearden, Hammer. Queensland's best. Mo was good.
Yeah.
I thought Mo has every right to be there.
Reece Walsh was the disappointment.
Yeah.
He just wasn't up to what he's been hyped to be.
No.
At the end of the day, Kalen Ponga came in underdone. Kafusi starting.
Yeah.
For the sake of what exactly?
The blowtorch is now back on Billy, and Billy's lashed out at a few journos and Ashley Klein. And by the way, just quickly, that penalty try attempt from Klein, can you explain that?
Trying to keep the game interesting with a handful of minutes left is the only explanation.
I think that it's back on Billy Slater now.
Yeah.
do something next year because he was the next hot coach in, had the Melbourne job at his feet, had this and that. Now he's been a bit exposed.
They were missing,
Madge out-mediated him without having to do much.
Yeah, 100%. The glass houses.
He just, and then Billy spent the rest of the time living in his glass house sulking.
That's it.
Didn't explain Fafita. In a small forward pack, they just got bossed. At the end of the day, they did.
But that's why next year will be different. They'll have Tino back.
They get Tino.
Flegler.
They get Flegler back, yeah. But, yeah.
David Fafita should be there.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Wallace is now gone. I think he was the other one we couldn't remember the other day.
Yes, right.
But, again, Tino, Flegler, Fafita, 3 Australian representatives that weren't...
Bo Firma.
Bo Firma's been playing amazing.
He was amazing. He was their best player on Saturday, I thought. Just about.
It's...
Is Aitken...
Aiken's gone.
Queensland? But is he a Queenslander?
I believe so.
Yeah, I know he's up. I know he plays for, but let's find out. He was the other one that we've talked about in the past.
But again, they didn't have Munster as well.
True.
So there's... and he's not used that as an excuse.
No, he's New South Welshman, Ewan Aitken.
Oh, wow, there you go.
He's born in Pambula, New South Wales.
It doesn't matter where you're born.
Potentially in Queensland. Shell Harbour Junior.
There you go. But there is excuses that he's not used.
Yeah.
And adding Munster to that list, that's 4 Australian representatives.
Fair enough, yeah. And realistically, Munster goes in that conversation for Australian halves, doesn't he?
100%.
Probably gets picked in that conversation.
Well, with Mal as coach, 100% he does.
Are we now a year on, do they have to make and he might retire. I honestly thought he might. Is DCE there next year?
I think if they win, him and Hunt both go.
Mm.
Now that they've lost, might be a different story. They might try and go around again.
Yeah.
But I think if they win 3 in a row, perfect way to exit.
Yeah, agree. But I think a year on, they might go anyway, and then all of a sudden you've got to look at, I think Dearden Munster's the future.
Sam Walker was
and Sam Walker's in there, but yeah.
Ezra Mam doesn't have the consistency. He's
not yet.
Yeah, his 10 out of 10s are amazing.
Yeah.
But then there'll be a 2.
Yeah.
Which is very similar to what Sam Walker was a year or so ago.
Exactly. But we saw what he did outside a good half on the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll move on. It's a question. If I'm Billy, I'm thinking of going towards Walsh, Dearden, Munster. I think Dearden's more cut out for Origin than Walker. Tell me I'm wrong, Queenslander, by the way. Right. Thanks for your feedback last week.
Personally going Ponga over Walsh.
In the halves?
No.
Fullback. Sorry.
I'd be going Ponga. And unfortunately for Dearden, I think he becomes the 14 because Munster's a 6. He's not a 7.
And you start Harry, and then Ben Hunt is the one that phases out.
Yeah, and I think Walker will be the next 7 for Queensland.
Mm. Tino front row.
Tino straight back in. Flegler straight back in.
Tino, Flegler.
Yeah. I've got Fafita in there.
Fafita.
It's...
Capel goes.
I'm already excited for next year's Origin.
Goes. Yeah.
What are we, 10 months away? Yeah. I'm already excited just because...
But also, there's also other bodies around, like Bostock is now sort of coming into his own. Like Tuolungi's a slug. We don't know the Cobbo story. Hammer.
But even like guys that were just starting to come, Hopgood got injured. But he done nothing wrong game 1.
He would have been there, yes.
He would have been, just...
Yeah, it becomes very interesting. And I hope if we get to the stage where, yes, they just shut the comm down for 3 weeks and go, all you fuckers get into camp.
That's it.
And just produce the best 3 games of football you can, I'll probably be happy.
I believe so. I think that is... it's the future. It's just when.
Injury news. Hopewade broke his eye socket. That blew up. Looked very pretty. He's out for a month. Alamode broke an arm. Potential, I think it's 4 to 6, but we'll see what happens there. Unfortunately, cost me a Supercoach game. Bradman Best's hamstrings worse than first feared. So 4 weeks to the season, they now think.
And it's not the one that he was complaining about the tightness in, apparently.
Right. Okay, that's the other one.
So, apparently it was the other one that went.
Dylan Edwards, PCL on that Origin game.
Yep.
Potentially, looking at around 4 weeks, I reckon. And season for Mitch Moses with his biceps. Yeah, I guess Para just are what they are now.
You miss Charlie.
And Charlie Geimer, who I
Oh.
conveniently bought in last week in Supercoach, and now he's out for the season.
He's gone for the season
with
as
ankle,
well.
as is, and I guess the other news, John Bateman's gone back to England for the rest of the year, so on loan, whatever that means. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Just let the kids play. That's fine. That's fine. They can loan out Clemmer as well. We might be sweet. Speaking of judiciary, any thoughts on any of that?
Injuries happen. What do you do?
Judiciary news. Caesar 2 weeks for his hip drop on top of his last one he had.
Well, I think he's lucky to only get 2.
I just thought 4. I just instantly thought 4. Cool. Joe Chan's looking at 2 to 3. I haven't seen tonight. A couple of matches for his careless high tackle.
It's about fair.
It sounds about fair. And Jason Ryle, have we talked about Riles as coach?
I believe so.
We did.
Yeah.
He's moving Barrett on. He's come out and said that Talangi's the future. Hasn't really had a lot more to do, really. Any other thoughts before we take a quick break?
No, that's about it. The other two were the Olaquata and Murray. Both got 2 weeks
Oh,
after
of course,
Origin.
yeah. So, yes. So I didn't mention any. And there's like 26 grand of fines.
Yeah, I think there was 9 fines. Capewell got double.
Yeah.
The brouhaha, as they like to call
what
it.
about Queensland whinging about it, and then all the photos are out, and there's just there's 2-0 and or Murray's coming in 2-0 and is it Luai? Who was the other one?
I think Luai was still on the field, but yeah, there was 2.
There's 2-0 and someone else on the wing.
And there was
it must
just
have been
Queensland.
Yeah, and it's just 18 Queenslanders. But anyway.
But yeah, I do think Murray and Olaquata under the current rules are both lucky to only get 2 weeks.
I'd probably agree with that. Quick break, and we'll get stuck into the rest of the round. All right, round 20. Let's get back to business. It's been a minute since I've done this one as well. Round 20 kicked off with 20-18. Warriors going under to the Raiders, who scored. Warriors did score 4 tries to 3. See, Chanel missed 3 fairly simple kicks.
Oh no, 2 were on the edge. 1 was very kickable. But yeah, the other 2, give him credit. They were out wide.
Fair enough. What do you make of this? Did you get to see much of this?
I read pen now. They both had a pencil through them, but now the Warriors get the red pen.
Yes.
Barnett came back amazing. Fanua Blake had a great. Like the Warriors played well. They just couldn't get the dub.
The first 20 minutes kicked off with like Fogarty taking charge, and his kicking game was pretty much pinpoint to start that game. And a couple of tries to Hudson Young really set them up well. But that was it. That was it from the Raiders. And it was just one of those games, and we've mentioned it a fair bit, that they just won.
Yeah.
They won
pretty much
because the other team didn't beat them, which happens at GIL a bit. And it's like...
And that if that goes to Golden Point, I think the Warriors get the win.
I think so too.
Yeah, but it just, unfortunately for them, he missed the kick just to the left of the sticks, and... I think that's season done.
Yes.
And to be fair, it's almost the pen through the Raiders because they weren't able to put them up.
Hang on, I just need to look at this. I don't look at the ladder regularly, and every time I look at it, I'm shocked. But I'm sorry, keep.
Yeah, well, I said last week when we were on, the loser's gone.
Yeah.
And if even though the Raiders won, they didn't win convincingly enough to say we deserve to be in the 8.
I thought Fogarty back in was fantastic.
He was good.
Hudson Young was good. When we get to bringing back the Daggy M's, I actually almost can't give a point to many Raiders players. They got out to a lead and couldn't get run down is what happened
Pretty
in this
much.
game.
Young started on fire, and if he didn't, they don't win.
Agree. And like I said,
Fogarty was amazing kicking wise.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're going to chat on that later. He's got a long kick on him, which definitely helped.
And potentially does have to be in conversation when we talk about Origin from a kicking point of view. When you really look at what does a Munster, a Did, and then who's the other player
Walker.
you mentioned? A Walker bring. None of them
have a long kicking game.
Whereas Fogarty does. His bombs were lethal. His floating was fantastic. Tortured Weeks and Savage.
Not Weeks.
Savage, largely, wasn't it?
No, you're talking about Tua Paki.
Oh,
if
yes.
I pronounced
Sorry,
that correctly. And Roger.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
the winger.
Yeah, same team. Pompey.
Yeah,
Pompey before he got
pretty
injured.
much just the back five.
Dallin dropped a... Sorry.
Yeah.
Dallin dropped a couple. Yeah, wrong team. Dallin dropped a couple. Pompey got injured, but put down a couple. The best thing that happened, actually, was Roger going back to fullback. I thought that sparked...
They're a better team.
Easily a better team. And that changed the whole game.
I understand when Chanel's fit and firing.
Yeah.
You've got to fit him in somewhere, and Roger is a better centre, therefore I can see why they put him at centre with Chanel at the back, but he's still so good.
Yes. Well, that try, like, I love that try. Like, I got excited about it just because it was just like, get out of my face.
Exactly.
It was almost like, how dare you fucking try and stop me here.
Yep.
But I haven't looked at teams yet. We'll get that preview show. They need to stick with him there. I assume they haven't, but that changed the game. I would say Fanil Blake had his best game in 2 months.
Since he signed.
Easily, yeah. And Barnett, in my humble, was best player in the field, given it was on a 48-hour backup from what he did in that physical
Imagine the
game.
alcohol he would have consumed in that 48 hours too.
40 hours out. He would have gone out in a piss all across Brisbane in his jersey.
Yep.
He's flown to Canberra, and he's done that.
Yeah.
Like, what a man. What a guy.
Great work.
The best thing I love about him now is like he's got all the shit out of his game. All that shit he was doing at Newcastle.
Yep.
There's no malice. There's no forearms. There's no bullshit. He just goes, well, I'll just be a fantastic back rower.
Exactly.
Or front rower.
Exactly.
Any other takeaways from him?
So, yeah, they're now sitting 10th and 14th, and I think they're just making up the numbers now until the rest of the season.
I'm just trying to think of even. I know Canberra won the game. What I'm going to talk about? We talked to Strangers fine. Defensively
it was
good
one
again.
of the, like they shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
But they did.
Tarpanay ran his 200 metres. He was good. And Hosking was a very good return, I thought, getting back into his work. But the rest do what they do, and that's it.
That's it. If they got into 8th, it wouldn't shock you.
Yeah.
But they're not winning the first week of the finals.
No.
Like they're purely there for numbers. Where, as it kind of stands now, you could almost see 7th or 8th, which are, as it stands, Cowboys Dolphins. Mm-hmm. You could see them upsetting whoever they play away. Mm. If Canberra make the 8, they're not winning that game.
No. You wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And Canberra fans have got angry at me for 5 years calling them gatekeepers. That's exactly what they are. They're the team you beat if you're better than them.
Yeah.
And then somehow if you're not, you lose and you go, well, why didn't we beat them?
Yeah.
The Tigers should have beaten them. This team, you can go all through that bottom 8. But they win games. So they won this. Well done. I was given 3 points to Mitch Barnett. But I had a mix of Fogarty, Fanua Blake and RTS.
Young has to.
And Young as well.
Young,
so
I think Young, I personally had Young up there.
Given they won? Or
given they don't win without the way he starts.
I wouldn't argue that. No, that's fine. That's fair commentary.
Yeah. And then I had Young, Barnett, and then Roger. I thought Roger at fullback was great.
I agree. So, all right, well, let's go. 3 points, Hudson Young, GT. I hope you're listening.
It's been a while.
2 to our man Barnett, and 1 to Roger. 42 to 28. The Souths were less shit than the shit Tigers on Saturday afternoon. Did you see much of this?
I did. It was heavily invested due to Supercoach.
Of course. And a lot of them paid off for you too, actually.
No, Cody Walker, 2 tries for only 50-odd points. He done nothing.
Except for him, yeah.
He
didn't buy him.
He done nothing.
Lockie got 80-odd, I think.
Your De Silva got near on a ton. I thought he
good
actually
player.
played. Yeah.
Good player.
And again, this is what we chatted about last week with the Tigers. You've got all these good players, but they just all can't play good together.
There were 5, I think there were 5 18 and 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
I watched that and just go, obviously I was frustrated. Well, put it this way. We hit the lead.
You scored 5 tries again.
Yeah. We hit the lead, and then a kid, drops the ball 3 times, or twice, lead directly to tries, within seconds. Another one that they scored pretty much again. The self-sabotage is impressive, but there's still enough for a team that's going to get the spoon. There's still enough there that you go, there's something here. They're all kids.
100%.
They'll get there. And hopefully Richo has the brains, but just go, right, let's give him 2 years. Let's get it right. Let's get Luai in, blah, 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 blah. Let's ship off Bateman. Let's give the Fainu boys time, etc., etc. But as I said, the ability to ruin everything on their own is impressive.
Definitely.
All the points were through the sin. You right?
I'm going to sneeze.
You can unmute you. There's a button here. But yeah, the sin bin of Caesar led to points, and then the two drops from Loeli led to points. If that doesn't happen, they win. It's probably
you
pretty
guys
simple.
just need to stop being sin bin.
Correct. I think
this
it's
has
now
to be a
close
record.
I think it is.
It
There's
has
an
to
article
be.
the other day. It is. I think there's now. I believe it's double-figure sin bins, and there's 28,000 in fines.
You're well into you're like
suspension.
16 odd sin bins.
Yeah.
Because it was, I think a few weeks ago when you were at 12, it was 12 individuals.
Mm.
No one had actually been sin bin twice. Mm-hmm. Caesar with the hip drop
Caesar's
again.
double up. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And it was almost. It wasn't quite identical, but it was the same thing.
Just silly.
Talk about sin because I just want to talk about the good stuff Tigers did because and Damien Cook shoved out to the centres, had a good game.
6 out of 7 on the boot.
Did that, and Tane Milne got made to look like Mark Gasnier for a little bit there as well. But beyond that, I didn't think Souths were that good.
No, they weren't.
You can tell me.
It's Red Pen South. If you're letting the Tigers score 5 tries against you, it's Red Pen.
Yeah.
So Souths are gone.
Would I have wanted to see Latrell in this game? Definitely not. But
Definitely.
I'm glad I didn't.
Definitely.
The fact is, at the end of the day, is Tigers still keep conceding 40. I think the last month they've conceded 40. But
it's 3 games in a row that it's to 40. But something that we spoke about the other week, it's like you're earlier in the year, apart from the 2 games that you've won, you weren't in games at half time.
Yeah.
You were in this one until the 70th minute when they scored their last, you were a chance. And it's slowly getting better and better. And it's just unfortunately, the NRL is that tough of a competition that one play, if he's having a 2 out of 10, they just go at him.
100%.
And that's just what seems to
happened.
be exactly, and that's exactly what happened here. Alex Johnson got himself a double, Walker got a double, but both again, some of the tries were just lucky tries. But that's what happens when you're not going well.
Exactly. It's just one of those things where if Tigers put in a kick and there's 5 chases around, the ricochet goes to the bloke that's not the chaser.
Well, that was Walker. Walker's try was purely luck.
Complete arse. I said
his first one.
Buller brings the ball back, passes Loyal. He drops the ball cold. Cook runs, puts the winger over the line. And then you have the other one where Luali, I can't say his name, drops the other bomb and Cook picks it up. They score again. Instant.
That's the game.
Yeah.
That's 18 points we're talking about right
Tigers win. These are 2 pretty average. Well, they're on par teams and one didn't play as well.
Experience gets South over the line there.
Yeah. Wrap some South players before I wrap any Tigers.
Well, Keon, since moving back to lock.
Fantastic. Yeah, 200. Yeah, well, fair. That's fair.
He's been
revelation is my word of the night, but he has been.
And Cook in the centres. You can see why he's the New South Wales centre. Yeah, the guy can run. I feel like it was similar to the first game. There was no massive standout.
The halves were average. Jai Gray had his moments.
Yeah.
Alex Johnson's Alex Johnson, so he's going to score with time and space. Well, got handed 2 tries.
Yep.
That's it from South.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to say?
It's just one of, as you said, what they done was make the most of the opportunities they were given.
Yeah.
It wasn't individual performance. It was more of a team performance across the board, and they just made the most of what was given. But, again, they gave 5 tries away.
Yes. But you get a little bit, you go, okay, we can see that try that Buller scored just for half time. The winger makes a break, they sweep across, Galvin sweeps across field, off to Dewey, goes out to the wing, comes back in, blah, blah, blah. They score, probably the try of the game. A couple like that, and you go, and they're all teenagers, apart from Adam Dewey. If you throw Luai in there, you see where the Fainu brothers are going, you see... Bateman going now, I suggest we're going to see some more youngsters. Matamua, I've liked. Pole is great. You just go, okay, next year's not going to be bad.
You just need to hold them.
Yeah, and that's a big
The
thing.
issue's going to be when your
If
Roosters...
Stefano goes tomorrow, which is the rumour,
Yep,
or he'll commit,
yep.
you've got to turn around and go, okay, we're going to re-sign Pole for right now. That's it. Whatever we're going to give him, you have it now. Maybe not as much. We go, right, we'll give you 600
Well,
now.
you've got
5
800 to
years.
play with. If he doesn't sign, you've got 800.
Yeah. So you go 600 Pole. You're staying.
You've got 8 teenagers that are amazing. Here's 100 grand next year for all of you. Stay.
Sign for 3 years, stay. And then in 3 years' time, when you're all guns, we'll worry about it then.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what you can do.
Well, I believe I was just reading, because I only found out this payment thing before we press record. I was reading, went for a break. I believe they do get dispensation next year, so they can shore up a few bits and pieces.
But that's it. If you lose Stefano, yes, you're going to have to get somebody in and work that. But there's 800,000, and you've got at least 5 great teenagers coming through.
Yeah, well, so you just go, okay, we'll shore up the Faney brothers. Okay, well, guess what, Sione? You're now playing front row. Pole's going to play next year. Or there'll be other guys in the system. Or you can go to market and find a...
You need an old head. And this is what we chatted about off camera.
Off camera, we said, well,
Welch would be amazing.
If you go to, obviously it seems Nass off the table, but imagine if Melbourne are gung ho, and I don't think they are now. I think Stefano stays. I think that's a vibe getting. But if Melbourne are gung ho and getting him, you'd almost say, well, give us Christian Walsh.
Yeah.
Guy in there out of a great system. We can put him in there. He can be club captain next year if you have to, just to calm everyone down for a year. Get Luai into the system, and then Appy's there. I suppose Appy has to be. No knock on Appy, but he's in and around, and then it's a bit of a different leadership than a Bateman and a Clemmer.
Yeah, definitely.
With all due respect to them, but anyway, enough good signs. They lost. What do you say? Who do you give them 3 points to? Who are you thinking?
Probably Keon with his 200 metres.
I think Talon needs to be in the conversation.
Yeah,
and I'd say. Buller's had a fantastic month too, by the way. We didn't mention him, but...
I think that was definitely Talon's best first grade game.
Yeah.
So
2 to him.
Yeah, and...
AJ scored 2. Gray was good.
I thought Charlie Staines was good as
well.
He
was. Actually, that was his best game in a long time,
in a Tigers jersey.
I agree.
Yeah.
Give it to Staines then, all right? Give it to the Staines. He gets to wipe the shit away for a bit. We then go to the Broncos 30, Knights 14... And the return of Adam Reynolds essentially saw the chains come off Ezra and Reece Walsh, I suppose. Yeah. I know Walsh hasn't really been there. But they had their way for 60 minutes. It was pretty comprehensive here. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it was. There was at no point I thought Newcastle could win.
No.
Just Reynolds, just the kicking, the control.
Mm-hmm.
The
sense of calmness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big question is coming out of this: can they win 5 of their last 6 with a bye?
Not even a little bit
to make the finals.
What's their draw? Before I say that,
they've got the Eels, so that's one.
There's one. You got Bulldogs,
which will be tough.
Titans, Cowboys, Eels, Dolphins, Storm. They can win.
They will
5 of them.
They
probably
won't. They won't.
I reckon they win 4.
I reckon 3. I reckon the Titans will upset them.
That Dolphins game will be red hot.
The Dolphins will upset them. The Storm. They won't beat the Storm.
They won't beat Storm. I think they haven't lost a Storm at some. All of them are at home except for.
Of course they are. They're the Brisbane, and they'll be Thursday or Friday night.
They've got Titans and Cowboys away.
Well, the Titans also have a habit of beating them.
True.
So they're.
Yeah, having all 3 Queensland teams is a different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Anyway,
back to what you're saying.
They can. I don't think they will.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference of Adam Reynolds back was very evident.
He's massive.
He, as you said, it wasn't like there was anything flash. It was just the calmness of the game. But Patrick Carrigan backing up.
Again,
the guy couldn't walk after Origin.
Yeah,
he's such a good player.
I don't care what anyone says. He's the best lock in the game.
Yeah,
and I won't even debate it. And I know you can have your AEOs and that, but he's outstanding.
Ezra Mam again when he's got a great half.
Yeah, well, this was his best game since he came back, and
easily his best game.
It was Reece Walsh's best game.
Yes,
Reece Walsh time and space.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
Got that little extra 5 metres, which lets him skip outside the defender, lets him get into the line, lets him put front rowers through holes when he needs to, lets him do what he wants, and that was the difference in this game. Yeah.
And like I always thought Brisbane were going to win. We mentioned this last week when we were doing our tips that there were no chance unless all those guys backed up.
Yeah,
and they backed up.
Yeah, the minute they did, I just went,
same.
There it is.
And then pretty much once they lost Best, it was just like there really is no chance now.
And there's no strike power.
No.
To even talk about, look, the things Newcastle do well. Tyson Gamble's short kicking game was good. Ponga tried,
He's still just underdone. You can.
Yeah.
He's played.
He was underdone in Origin. Yeah,
he's played 2.5 games after being out for 3 months.
He's just doing his best.
And there's a difference, which we've already seen, between a fullback coming back from long injury compared to like a Fogarty and Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
A half doesn't. There's not as much impact. It's all about the control, the calmness, and a kicking game. Where a fullback, they've got. It's
almost your cardio. Like it's almost like you need to trust yourself to be able to run those 200 metres and not gas.
That's it. And that's just carrying the ball, let alone the defensive side of things.
Exactly, and you could say, that's what it feels like with Bonga. Frizzell was good. Lucas, Croker, both good. They're sort of the same player. Hetherington scored a try. He was good, but they're just I don't say it, but they're just B+ players playing against. But not saying the Brisbane pack is much better, but you're playing against
last year's grand finalists at the end of the day.
Yeah, and 5 blokes would be in the Australian team if they needed to be.
Yeah.
Simple as that. What else do we take from this?
What we take is that Broncos, without injuries, would have been a top 8 side this year.
I think so.
But
and I think just how important Adam Reynolds is.
Yes.
Has been, because I kept saying how frantic they've been for a month. That went away. This week.
Definitely.
And it was as simple as that. I still was giving Reece Walsh 3 points because I thought.
Well, I had Walsh and Mann.
Yeah, 3-2-1.
Yeah.
3-2-1 and one's for Reynolds.
Yep.
Or, yeah.
That was it.
Yep, I agree. So what are you saying? 8? Yes or no?
No.
But if there's no Origin period in a year's time or 2 years' time,
they won't have Reynolds in 2 years' time. So
Jock Madden's got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, massive.
Storm 24, Roosters 8. I put my reputation line here, but as usual,
we both tipped Roosters. You just went for the 13+.
Let's get back into the gutter. What do you think?
I never realised the stat until after the game. They've won like 1 in 20 against Penrith and
in Melbourne.
Melbourne. They can't win the comp.
No. I had to say because I've been so bullish on them.
Yeah. It's just they do not have a long kicking game.
I agree.
That is what is going to.
The only reason Bulldogs are where they are is because of Matt Bird.
Yes.
The only reason a couple of teams are is because of the long kicking game, and they don't have it.
The only reason the Eels won any games this year is because of Moses' long kicking game.
Yep. I'll agree with that. And they don't
Jamal
have it
Fogarty, Raiders, again, another one.
Yeah.
The long kicking game is what's...
Even that Penrith game.
Yeah.
Dolphins owned Penrith. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Right? But it was Cleary's kicking that salvaged a lot of it. You need to have a 65, 70 metre kicker.
And that's it. But they just dominated them.
Yep.
I really thought it was going to be the Roosters forwards that were going to outdo them. But it sort of just turned into like the battle of the backs, and Melbourne...
They're just not good defensively.
Yeah.
But then for all year, their red line defence has been great, Roosters. But then it's like they get a little bit of broken field. Dom Young never knows where to go. He's almost like a mirror of Will Warbrick at his worst. Tupanua was a back rower defending in the centres.
Yep.
And yes, some of these issues will fix themselves. Keary and Walker are essentially tiny at the end of the day, and Teddy has to be everywhere. But they just got opened up by guys who... What first-grade side would Grant Anderson make?
Probably ours.
Probably ours too, to be honest with you. I think it is. But
my takeaway from it I can't remember last time when they were at full strength and had to chase a team.
Yeah.
And they just did not know because and that's geez, it's almost like park football when you got that team that's a mile better than everyone else, and they're just used to winning 50-0, 50-0, 50-0. And the first time that they go 3 tries down, they're like, shit, what do we do?
Yeah.
That sums up the Roosters. It's
I think so.
You've
Yeah,
got
I think
this
it's fair.
amazing team that when it's going hot, it's absolutely it's rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Everything goes right. Bounce the ball, everything.
Yeah.
And then it's been 10 weeks. It feels like since they've last lost without Origin interruptions, they didn't know what to do. They were behind against
A great analogy. That's a really great analogy, Molly Best, because what is Teddy's default when they don't know what to do? It's the go and get in the corner. It's, I'll try and take. All of a sudden, the halves become out of the game. Sam Walker's the same. Rainbow ball, great short kick, da-da-da. What happens when we've got to actually work our way
backs
out
against
of this?
the wall, yeah.
Keary's always been the same.
And the thing is, that's Melbourne. They'll bring you down and they'll get on top. They will dominate. And unless no, they just don't. They don't win. They don't win the comp this year. They're going to finish 3rd or 4th.
Yeah,
but
can't beat the other two.
They cannot beat.
And and if they I would have to think if they play Bulldogs in an elimination final or whatever they call them. First week of finals. It's almost like you'd have to sit and think about who you'd tip.
Yeah, because the Bulldogs are that
and that's
type
the Bulldogs coming off a loss as well. But they'll go deeper than Cowboys, not to worry about that.
Yeah.
But, I agree. They're a little bit exposed.
Like, don't get me wrong. They could win it. They could, and they're the type
they could come out in a grand final
and put 3 tries on either of those sides.
Teddy gets all of a sudden, Cheese busts out dummy half. Teddy busts through 6-0. All of a sudden,
it's 12-0.
Bradley crashes over 12-0, and then they just man up and tackle, and they're sweet.
Yeah,
but they can't chase. And I've always said Penrith can't chase, but there's one bloke in their team that's a pretty good chaser.
Yeah,
I can start calling him Bevo the more I think of this. But and then you look at this team. Jack Howard's still in his first handful of games. Grant Anderson has said essentially been their reserve grader. Josh King, Newcastle didn't want. Sean Bloor, Tigers didn't want. Luero making his name this year, but still only first year in. Joe Chan, same thing. And they owned him. They just owned him. Tyron Wishart wouldn't play 5'8" for any other club.
And they're getting
he will now.
They're getting players back.
And Munster's back.
Munster's coming back. They've still got to get Coates back. Pappy's not at full.
No Nelson, no Welsh, no... Well, Pappy's on one. Still, apparently, his leg's still fucked.
His like 20 needles in 3 weeks. I was like, that's what I mean. They're still not at full strength. And they're, 2-3 wins clear at the top.
You've just got to sit back and go, all right, Bellamy's better than us.
But it's not just Bellamy. Who's the guy that finds these players?
Yeah.
Because Bellamy, he's coaching them.
Yeah.
But somebody who's down there, who's their scouts?
That's a great question. Let's do some research on that. That's a great question.
Because if you can't, if you're a full-time coach, you can't be scouting.
That's right.
Who's their scouts?
There has to be people around them.
And then I don't know. Does the scout bring the player to Bellamy, and then Bellamy has a conversation and says yes or no? I don't know how it works, but they just keep finding him.
And I think it's still the Devils' feeder. I don't know. They split.
Falcons.
So, and North Sydney now, isn't it? They one of the. But I'm just looking.
But they just
look staff listing. Yeah,
it's very similar to what Penrith do.
Yes,
where it's the next man up mentality.
Put it this way: the best 2 teams in the comp are system driven.
Yes.
And I would argue that, and then I think Bennett's done, in 2 years, has done a fantastic job at Dolphins.
Yep.
I think Robbo to an extent does, but I think they get a little bit golden hot. I don't know.
Financial assistance.
Well, but also there's a little bit of, there's lots of fluffers and not much, it's all just fluff. Like, you come here, it's going to be this, it's going to be great. Yes, and it is, and they're great. But that leads to, it's a bit like It's like some of the Godolphin horses that live in air-conditioned stables 24/7 and get washed 3 times a day. They're great until someone else wanders up next to them and puts some pressure on them.
That's it. That's the
So
Roosters.
it's easy to be. Yeah, I think they're the Godolphin of the rugby league world.
Yeah.
And just looking, can't even find a name here. But anyway, incredible what they've done.
Minor premiers. Done.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Sold.
Yeah, easy. Grant Anderson. It was a breakout game, but he had an amazing game. Harry Grant was fantastic in and out, skating in and about there. Jerome Hughes had almost a career season.
Well, that was one of my... I actually thought Jerome Hughes had a quiet game. Extremely quiet for him. And that's kind of the scary thing.
Yeah.
Their best player all year probably had one of his lower games.
Yeah.
And they still...
And they're about to get back the bloke who wins grand finals.
Yes.
At 5'8".
Yes. And one of their biggest defensive threats in Warbrick probably goes soon with Coates coming back.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
we have the conversation. Meany stays.
Yeah.
I suppose. And they got Remus Smith up their sleeve somewhere as well. So you got to work out who's there in it. Yeah, there's a lot to come back here.
And when it comes to it, you've got to say they're favourites because it's just been so... Well, what was it, the 60s last time the side won 4 in a row when it was St George?
Yeah.
When they won... So everything's kind of pointing towards the Storm winning the comp.
Can anyone win apart from them or Penrith? Or are you still giving Roosters a tiny chance?
The Roosters are that tiny chance if they get out of the blocks.
Yeah.
I don't have...
You know what their best hope is? Storm and Penrith in a semi-final.
Yes.
I don't know how the draw sits right now.
Well, the way it is right now, they would have to win the first final to put them both on the same side of the draw.
Right. There's no one outside those. I can't see
the only defensive one outside of them that could do it is the Dogs, but they don't score enough points.
They don't score enough points, and they're missing. And we'll get to them in a sec. They need a middle forward. If they had if they had who's old mate that failed his medical, Tukiao. If they had Tukiao, they almost are a chance, but they're just too small to. They get bullied a lot, and Burton's boot saves their ass a lot, which is great. But what do we take from this game? 3-2-1s. I hadn't written it down.
It's hard because they were just so good. Like Grant Anderson's best game in first grade.
Well, 3 Grant, 3 Anderson, and the other 2 actually just quickly. As I said, those 2 back rowers are so good now.
Yes.
So good. Blore. That was probably close to his best game. We've said, I reckon we've said that last month.
Well, Blore was in my points, whether it was 1 or 2.
And Katoa's just...
Katoa was amazing. Jack Howarth also...
Yeah.
I felt like Grant was the best.
3 Anderson.
Just his finishing.
2 Blore, one either Harry or Howarth.
And just the best try assist that wasn't a try assist occurred in this game. The Josh King kick.
Yeah.
That was amazing. For a prop to put in that banana ball, just curve around, stay in.
We saw there was a few of them this week.
Yeah, but yes, unfortunately, Katoa with that little knock on in the build up, but that off a prop. Like Bellamy's normally losing his shit at that, and I'm
sure he still was.
Yeah.
Well, what do you reckon? And so let's go 2 to Blore and 1 to
either Howarth or Katoa.
I'll give it to Howarth. Why not? Then we got to Saturday, and almost one of the games this season.
It was a good game.
Definitely one of the games of the round. This was high intensity, 28-26. The Panthers, who ultimately I did change my tip to and regretted for about half hour, beat the Dolphins in a cracker at Blue Bet, 4 tries apiece, and a 2-point Nathan Cleary field goal in Golden Point was the difference. What a game. Dolphins were fantastic. I thought the problem was Dolphins were fantastic for 25 minutes. It looked like absolute world beaters, and then just didn't.
They ran out of steam.
Just ran out of steam.
Which is what we've been saying last few weeks.
Yeah.
And I feel like if a side drops out of the 8, it is them. Because like this was 2 points in. You can't say
should have been in the bag. If you lead by 14,
you can't say 2 points in the bag against Penrith at any point. But
and any time Nathan Cleary apparently is down by 14, you just go, okay.
Hammer could be the fullback for Queensland. He is so good. He is so fast. He just makes something out of nothing. But the name you mentioned earlier, Bostock, geez, he was good as well.
I thought he was outstanding. Line break. I think he had. Just pull the stats. He ran for nearly 250 metres, I think, but he was beating people, putting other people through holes. 212 metres. Put Hammer away for one. There's one time they just ankle tapped him down the sideline late in that first half. I thought this was a breakout game for him.
Yep.
Lanky, big, strong. I thought he was fantastic. The outside backs dominated the Penrith outside backs, and it wasn't quite as clean as it should have been, but I thought that exposed where Penrith's at in terms of their depth in the outside backs right now. They're losing Alamote. I know they get back, obviously get Luai, and they get back, I think Laurie almost has
exposed to a point, but at the other side, like Dane Laurie's been amazing. Mm-hmm. It was another great game from him.
Case, actually, I shouldn't say exposed because Case McLean was pretty good.
He seems like an absolute talent, and this is what we're talking about earlier. It's just this next man up mentality, and he was under 19s New South Wales a couple of weeks ago, so he's only a kid still.
Yeah,
and he's just another great talent. Alamoti's unfortunate.
He was on a burner too. He was on a heater too.
That was Taruva's best game.
Oh, and since he signed with the Tigers,
since he signed with you guys,
he'd fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, so it was. At the end of the day, they win it because of Cleary.
They won because of Cleary, but I don't think Nathan had. He never was on the front foot in that game.
It's that calmness
first half,
of his senior half.
Yeah, that first half
got him over the line.
He wasn't really. He was running a lot. He was trying to get them going, but he didn't have the cavalry around him to get him there. And they get it back like the
Toto, Edwards, Luai.
Like they all come back.
Like, yeah.
But I thought once they got into that rotation, Mav Gaia, Patea, a few of them are they're fine, but they're not who they're missing. It was actually Leota and Fish that really changed the momentum in this game. I thought they were both fantastic. Leota's second stint, which with the try,
it
was
both
tries.
their second stints.
Yeah.
Because the Dolphins just after that first try, it was all them for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, for 25 minutes they were on top and looked a good team. Katoa was absolutely fantastic in that first half.
They just burnt out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Dolphins fans, I can see it continuing.
Well, the thing is, they're at the bottom. They're at the bottom of their depth barrel because they've got so many injuries. They've got Max Plath shouldn't be playing 9.
No.
If Marshall King's in the field, there's probably 6 points at some point. If Plath is playing back row, he might save 6. Like
and that's it.
It swings and roundabouts. TPJ's been great.
He has been
great since. And again, he was pretty, except for he loves throwing those offloads 5 metres out from his line. He was good again. Hammer, fantastic. Herbie, fantastic. Averillo, I can't really fault anyone. And they lost. This is we're talking about an actual, probably a classic stand-around game.
And the stats, it's one of those games where a draw would have.
It should have been a draw.
It suits.
And why on earth? The only knock I haven't got to is why he didn't have a shot 20 out, right, and to the side there,
just to the left. I thought, and he went the crossfield kick. They win the game.
I was kicking myself because a minute to go, I changed from Dolphins to Penrith, and I'm just like, he's going to nail this, and he would have, and he's gone for a dinky little crossfield chip for nothing.
Yeah. The other big part was the Josh Kerr sin bin.
Well, that got him going. It got him
with the 5 to go,
which left him into the. They left him one shot heading into it.
Yeah, so they took the conversion to equal up the score, and then just that extra man,
I think if you're a Dolphins and a Dolphins fan, it's a good squad. They're on the right track. They've got a fantastic halfback who's still only 20. He will be a superstar.
I believe so.
Hammer,
the biggest thing will be how will he go once Bennett's gone?
Yeah, and this is a test for Christian Welf, who has all the raps in the world, but so did Madge.
Yes.
So did Demetria.
Yes.
So did all these guys. So does Jason Riles. So that is a big test. But gosh, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Apart from I still don't know why he didn't take the shot.
But we're about to do the 3-2-1s. I've got.
You know who was fantastic?
I got Dolphins guys ahead of Panthers.
Lemueli had the game of his season. He was great as well. They all did, and it's a story of this round.
Yeah.
Ray Stone tough off the bench. But the guys that got Penrith back into this game, as I said, it was Nathan Cleary, it was a calmness, it was Leota, it was Fisher Harris. And that's about it.
Luai.
Sorensen was good
Dane
too.
Laurie,
So was good.
Dane Laurie.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, I was thinking about this. Even when Edwards is back, he probably needs to be in conversation for the 6 next year.
I can understand why.
Would I pick him? I don't know, but I think he adds more than Schneider.
Yep.
If not 14.
Yep.
I think he needs to be in a 17 with Edwards there. If they're going to win the comp, I think he adds enough. Or do you play him on the wing and just you get Bizza back, I suppose.
Yeah.
You can't really move Bizza to the centre. You can't move Taruva to the centres. I suppose he either plays 18 or 14, but I think he's worthwhile. I think he has to be there. I think he's been great at Penrith. But do another couple hundred metres here. You had that 300-metre game, 260 here, Taruva 220. Yeah. They'll be fine, Penrith. Like I said, there's only 2 hopes. I think there's only 2 hopes now.
Yeah, so do I.
Who are you thinking 3-2-1?
I personally had the Hammer and Bostock. They were my one, like 3-2.
Yeah.
I just thought they were both amazing. And then it was, there's a fair argument, though, that Dane Laurie can get the 3 due to his impact for the Panthers.
That's a tricky one.
But they were my 3 players. They were my 3 standouts.
I suppose you can't have Cleary not get a point because they don't. The fact of the matter is they just don't win if Cleary not on the field. But I'll go Bostock 3. You know, Bostock 3. 2 Hammer, 1 Cleary. No, 2 Cleary, 1 Hammer.
Is it because we almost just expect it?
We grade on a curve.
Yeah.
We say that with Carrigan. We say that with Payne House. We grade on a curve that we expect they're going to be here.
That's
so
it.
when Bostock does what he does,
once Cleary got that conversion,
Yeah.
we just expected him to get the field goal.
exactly.
Like it's
Exactly.
so I'm sure
Well, I
that
think he needs to get
weighs
2.
into
Give
it.
him 2.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, but 3 Bostock and 1 to Hammer.
Yeah.
That's good. Let us know below what you think. We went from one of the games of the year to not one of the games of the year. 38-8 Titans under the Seagulls. And I tipped the Titans. Hell, what do you want to say about this?
Tom could win them the comp if he stays fit.
You're saying they're now a live chance? They're missing a forward pack.
They're missing the forwards. But
This game changed again. Well,
so what they've got that the Roosters don't have is that long kicking game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'd
if
agree with that. Actually,
yeah.
that's a good comparison. I think Roosters would bash them out of a semi, sort of how they did sort of that South game a few years ago. They'll just get in and just grub around and really... They've got no one that's going to stop Crichton, May, Collins, Jared.
They're just... When they're on, Manly are a threat in the comp. If you're going percentages... You're like 45% Storm, 45% Panthers, and then 10%.
You got to find some people to make up a market. Yeah.
They're in that 10%.
Yeah, you say it's 3 and say 3 and 3.
Yeah,
I could find 3 for Manly before I could find 3 for. I could find 3 for Manly, 4 for Chooks, 1 for the Dolphins. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
That's what I
2
mean.
for the Dogs.
Yeah. So it's very small.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But they've just when they're on.
Fair.
They can just put it on.
Yeah.
They're another side though. Same type of thing. If they fall behind, they can fall behind very quickly.
Yeah.
But they're one of those sides that if they're putting points on, they can put them on very quickly.
Yeah.
And then the Buddha DCE.
Who, by the way, he didn't just play in a dinner suit. He played in his freaking pajamas in this game.
Yeah.
He didn't even get the dinner suit out.
Yeah.
He was a non-factor, really, apart from kicking a little bit. You know who changed this game? Because I said I tipped the Titans. I was so smugly confident after half hour. Nathan Brown coming on actually got a bit of momentum back.
He's not the signing of the year, but considering he started on a $1,500 train and trial.
Return on investment's fantastic.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
But Manly's bench was great. Like Trbojevic, Bullimore.
There with his hair now.
Yeah, like just It was one of those that they were just on
Yeah.
across the board.
Well, and Titans just aren't. Titans are.
Like Titans, what they started. When were the tries? 9 and 12 minutes.
But they
And
really,
then from that,
if
it
they
was
could,
just,
if they could,
it was 65 minutes of just Manly.
yeah. But if they could convert, and Sammy and Kelly made a few sort of streakaways and stuff, it could have been 20-0 and it's a different game. But then it's not,
Yeah,
and that's what happens to us loser teams.
exactly.
You think, but after that, it was complete demolition and complete different class. I thought Luke Brooks was outstanding.
He was.
I actually gave him man of the match in this game.
Yeah, well, he's right.
Because and I know you're going to say Tommy, and I'm fine with that. But it's like, it was sort of him that it's his job to get Tommy into that space, and he did it.
Tommy falls into that Cleary category that we just chatted about.
Correct.
We kind of
I know,
expect
like whatever
this.
it is, 6 tries and 7 try assists for
Yeah,
Tommy.
if you see Manly scoring
3 and 3,
six
yeah.
tries,
Well, Tommy's
you
involved,
expect
yeah.
Tommy to be involved in 3 of them.
Oh.
But no, you're right. Luke Brooks played amazing. Tommy Talau.
Well, that's my 3.
Yeah, there you go.
He was great. Yeah, I mean, we're dragging into the hours plus, but what else do you analyse from this? Titans pretty poor. They got a shit ton of injuries. They got hookers playing 5'8". They got this, that, and the other. Different class. I think Manly and Canterbury in the same boat is that they're pretty they've got what they need. They just don't have.
It's almost
They've got enough, but they're missing a middle.
Yeah,
If either of them had.
like Brown.
If either of them had Fisher, Harrison, Yoda, fuck me, I'd be terrified.
Yeah, and that's it. Like Brown's great to come on.
Yeah.
But it's that initial prop.
Yeah.
That can get through the first 20.
Yes.
To match it with those guys.
Yeah.
That's what they're missing.
Which is ironic because given I'm not saying he's the guy, but neither of them really chase Stefano, and I suppose he wants a stupid shit ton of money. But you can go and find if you can just find a guy at 500, and I don't have names to think about this, but it terrifies me. A Fanua Pole or a Geimer. These are the guys you got to find. You got to find them before they get big, and then
100%.
they win. They don't directly win your comps, but they win your comps.
Yes.
And both Dogs and Manly are missing it right now.
In saying that, if Tommy does his hamstring tomorrow at training, they don't make the 8.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
But it's if you're doing that 100%, they're in that wagon wheel. They're not a big percentage.
No, I'd agree with
but
that.
they're a dark horse.
Yeah. Paseka, I'm saying, Paseka. Rudolph's floating around, like your Hazeltons of the world. They're the sort of guys. But I agree.
It's not your $900,000, $800,000 prop that they need.
No.
They just need somebody that can do that job.
They need some guts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other bloke we mentioned probably the big 3. Having, and actually Canterbury get it back as well, having the guy that can, if you make a break, they're going to score, is worth his weight in gold. Jason Saab, that guy, and Tommy's a bit that way, but Canterbury get Fox back. Hammer is the guy for Dolphins. If Jerry Marshall King makes a break,
it's almost a guaranteed try.
It's a try.
Yeah.
Whereas other clubs don't have it. How many times you see other clubs make a break?
We don't have it. Like,
no, 100%.
Like
Gutho on one leg and
we've got
Talani
Gutho who gets caught, type thing.
And then it might lead to a fucking sin bin or this and that, but it's not. You want the 6 points.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just going to go, there it is. They're going okay. I don't want to go. Is it Manly with Seabold and this and the other? But Burbo, he plugs in anywhere, does the job. Like, tremendous player.
He's not Mitch Orbison levels, but he reminds me a bit of him.
A little bit. He plays centre.
He's just that perfect guy off the bench.
If he's played in the wing, if you needed him to play at lock, he would.
So it's just like a constant 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
But they're the type of players you need to win a comp.
Exactly right. For Titans, what do we talk about Titans? Foreign tried very hard again. Look, probably end of the day, they produced 2 tries and neither were from the halves. Hang on.
It was a bad week for the Titans. At the end of they're not going to get the spoon, which a lot of people did mention once Tino got injured.
Yeah. There's glimpses, but their injuries killed them.
Exactly.
AJ and his team's different. Tino and his team's completely different.
And you saw they had that run.
Yeah.
And that 6-7 weeks when they didn't win a game at the start of the year, a handful of them were by a try or less.
Yeah.
You know, they win even 3 or 4 more of those, and they're almost in the talk about are they a
in
bottom
that Canberra
like
team.
7,
Yeah,
8?
yeah, exactly right.
So it's just one of them years, unfortunately.
I'll just wrap both of them up. Fantastic year. Coming off missing last year altogether, I think, or close to it.
It was close to it if it wasn't the whole.
He should have been in the Queensland team.
He should have
been the Queensland team. They're far and away the best. I thought Sammy was okay, except I had him in a multi for a few grand. And again, so if anyone needs to multi up next week, multi up Adam Dewey, who's probably going to play, and Philip Sammy. They were the two I missed out on many monies. But anyway, they generally pop up the next week.
That's normally the way it goes. It'll be Jacob Gagai as well.
And Jacob Gagai. Throw that him in. And Mo was fine. Didn't get through a lot of work, but he was fine. Yeah, what do you say?
It just Manly dominated. From the 15th minute, it was just all Manly.
Mm-hmm. Right, Brooks or Turbo for 3?
I'm happy for you to give it to Brooks. You still got a soft spot for him. He looks like he's going to finally play his first.
It looks like the way.
Yeah, finally going to break that streak of no finals appearances.
2 Tommy, 1 Talau.
Yeah.
2 Turbo. Yeah, 2 Tommies in there. Turbo and Talau for 2 and 1. And then 20-18. Again, a game I sort of don't know how Bulldogs lost.
The Wilson sin bin.
Yeah, that killed them. 20-18 Cowboys over the Bulldogs as I was on the barbecue on a Sunday night with the family. But enjoyable enough game.
The Wilson sin bin and going for 2 when already 2 up.
Yeah, that was a bit bizarre.
It was.
And they were completely on top.
Yeah.
They were completely on top.
But this is what we've said about the Bulldogs, and this is why they can't win it. They don't have the attack. They've got the defence.
Yeah.
Again, 3 tries. One of the tries was while they had a player down.
Mm-hmm.
So their defence is there.
They just get bullied.
Yeah.
And lots of those bullied players are good players.
Yes.
I really like Hayward had a great game. Fantastic game. Josh Curran was outstanding playing in the middle. And but he was doing 2-3 hit-ups some sets, because especially in the attacking line. They don't have the size.
Kikau and Preston let me down.
Yeah, okay.
Less than 100 metres each for what and this
is Kikau injured still?
I don't know.
But
again, this is like they're just lacking that attack. So I don't know if it's them or it's the half just not getting them enough ball, the right ball. But they're two try-scoring second rowers.
You see,
that just aren't.
Back rowers are either synced with their halves or they're not.
Yeah.
You see players, and you'll see it next year with Papi. You watch him go to Penrith, and he'll score 20 tries.
He'll be one of the first in Supercoach.
Yeah, and off he could be cheap too. Actually,
yeah.
But right off Cleary, he'll score 15 tries.
Yeah.
Whereas you go and put him outside Luke Brooks, or you go and put him outside. Who's in our halves? Aden Caesar is a different story. Sean Lane.
This could be to do with the chopping and changing.
Had that connect, now has a disconnect.
Yeah, the chopping and changing of their halves throughout the year.
Exactly.
But it's a great core squad.
Yeah.
It's just missing that, I think, that big bopper up front.
I agree. The back row is actually really good. And they're picking up. They're picking up Tupanua.
Yep.
Cool. But they need...
It's not who they need.
They need Fanua Blake.
They need something like that.
Or Rudolph. Rudolph-ish.
Cowboys win again. I think it solidifies their spot in the 8s. They've got 6 Origin reps. They should be fighting for the top 4.
Where's Val at? Like, what even... He shouldn't be even an Origin. He's particularly mediocre these days. His kicking's been better for the last 6 weeks.
And it's almost... Are we still judging them off the 2 years ago when they made the prelim?
They don't... I'm not, because I've already penned them, but...
But they do. They've got 6 Origin reps.
I know.
And then they've got other players such as Drinkwater, who plays...
And Townsend's actually been pretty good lately.
That's it. It's just...
As has Cole Felt, who had penned, but...
Yeah, it's... it's similar to the Raiders win. Even though they won, it's just like meh.
Well, if Burton could kick...
Yeah.
They win.
Yeah.
NRL, let me just look at the ladder. I'm trying to hit a wrap here from the Cowboys.
Again, Tom Lolo, again, what he's
Dearden was great.
He's on $1 million a year, and he's just not producing.
And he's also said, he came out again and said, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You keep paying me millions.
Oh, can you blame him?
Well, I wouldn't.
No.
They'll pay him out. They'll
Yeah.
say, can you go away?
Yeah.
But he always
was great.
fine.
Yeah.
Lukey was good. Yeah, he had some fortuitous bounces to a couple of tries, but rangy. Him and Nano similar. Rangy back rowers, cool. I thought Dearden was their best. Dearden wins in the game through that last line break through the dummy.
Yeah.
Joey went on about it for 18 hours at Origin. Never trust his dummy. Well, he was right here.
Ruben Cotter also backed up quite
Yeah.
well. It was 40-something tackles without a missed tackle, I believe. Don't know if it got updated later on. But just...
But it's another game where I want to give points to Bulldogs because I thought the best players in the field play for the Bulldogs. I thought Burton was great. His kicking was good, but also he's very judicious when he runs now, and he always seems to every time he runs, he half makes a break.
That left, off the left, yeah.
How many times does you see him get through the line and there's just someone doing this?
And this is what you were talking about earlier. They don't have, like, as good as Tracy's been, they don't have that flying speedster.
If Fox pops out outside him,
it's a try.
Dan Ganane creams himself and says, good night. Yeah, West Mouth, that is my young fella loves commentating. Mainly him seeing games on YouTube, but he's grown up listening to Dan Ganane, so he does all. Like, mate, come on. Anyway, whatever.
But
God bless Dan. He's not bad, but he's not Rabs.
But yeah,
Well, Thirsty Morrow. We haven't mentioned that in a second. Carry on.
Yep. It feels very similar to the Dogs are going to cost themselves, and this is why they can't win the comp.
Yes.
Their defence is good enough.
Yep.
Their attack isn't.
Mm-hmm. Simple as that.
And it's just that
And Sexton's shorts kicking's really good. Like they've got a good balance. Like he pinned 2 tries led to 2 short kicks led to tries. There's a couple other repeat sets. They got the biggest boot in the comp. But just doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't quite gel.
283 points against. Only the Panthers are better at 266. So they've got the right things happening at the club.
But
they just need that.
But they never get. They spend half an hour.
Is it a half that they need them?
No. They need some. Or Brian Tua or someone. But they spend half hour every game getting to their 40 and have Burton kick them downfield.
Yeah.
And credit to them, they stay in those games. But they just don't. And Carrez does a tremendous job.
Do they stay in the games due to who they've signed, and they don't have that big forward?
They do. Yeah, and I think they've got a good team.
Is that part of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So therefore, do they actually just need a half and not
possibly
a forward?
I'm not knocking Sexton
because
right
they can
now.
play for 80.
Yeah,
because they're not.
Maybe they
120 kilo guys.
But maybe they do. I don't put it this way: if you put DC in this team, would they be any different?
Yeah.
You reckon they would?
A top half
with
100%.
DC and Burton's kicking.
Yeah.
Don't they? Isn't it the same thing?
I think you've got
pinpoint
more
wise.
You've got more control, and you'd have that calmness.
Okay, fair.
So they're already doing what they're doing, but now you've got a calmer head on top of the big boot.
Yeah.
You've then got 2 big boots.
I just think they need blokes to keep them closer to the middle than they get.
It's an interesting one. Like the signing of Satili, I don't think helped.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah,
because Preston's a workhorse. Kickout's already their X factor.
That's it.
Who are they missing?
Fox.
Max King, Fox.
Yeah, Max King he's a loss. But again, he's
not a big body.
No, and that's what
Sam Hughes was going to be the guy, but he's I would have rather them go harder at Fanua Blake than a half or anything else. I wonder if they're a dark horse for a Stefano. I'm not saying Stefano gets deeper. Don't know.
But yeah, I just like
that's what they're missing.
If you put an Adam, I feel like it could be the forward, but I feel like
if you think Adam Reynolds gets them closer.
Yeah.
Or does Payne House and Pat Carrigan get them closer?
Well, so you're saying 2 players now.
Correct. Well, and their lock is Kurt Mann, so maybe an Isaiah Yeo of Carrigan, because Yeo runs those 180 metres and has that skip in the line drag, whereas it's Kurt Mann, man. It's Kurt Mann.
He's a utility that's playing very well.
Bailey Hayward might be that guy down the road.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do over the next 2 or 3 years because they're opening up a premiership chance.
I think so. I think they're starting to open. I think they need a lock. Now I've said that, they need a lock.
Yep.
A proper lock and a front rower.
And that might be what it is. They might not need a front rower.
It
They
might
might
be a
need
lock.
an 80-minute lock
Yeah.
that can just put everything
Do
together.
it together.
Yep.
A Yo, a Carrigan, a Cam Murray,
That type of player.
a Colomatangi.
Yeah. It could be that.
Yeah, I just thought of that. You're
Yeah.
right, yeah. It's an
So-
epiphany we'll have on the show. Curran, I assume Curran's going to spend his life in it. Curran could be. He's not quite that link middle guy, but he could. He's probably going to end up playing his life in the middle at prop. He's going to be the new Jake. And he was actually fantastic.
He was
actually fantastic.
Was he
almost
was
man
he
of
the
match.
3?
Yes, why not? I had Dearden 2. Well, I had Dearden 3 because they won, but
Yep.
Dearden 2, and then Sexton or Burton one. What are you thinking? You look at who have I missed?
The only other one would be Lukey with the 2
Oh,
tries.
fucking oath. Yeah, no.
Yep.
So let's go Curran 3, Dearden 2, Lukey 1.
There you go.
I think that's fair. What do you normally hear? We have to do a pot plant of the week. You haven't thought of this, have you?
No, it's been that long since we've done
Yeah,
this.
neither. I just realised.
Pot plan of the
Gosh,
week.
I'm rusty.
Jeez.
We can park this stop till next week.
Oh, you could probably just hit the pause button. We could have 2 minutes to think about it.
Nah, that's boring. I'm going to go Luke Lauaili.
Luke,
Luke Kit? Which one is he? The Tigers winger. Who actually hasn't had a bad start to his career, but end of the day, 2 drop balls cost them the game. Simple as that. So I'm going to go with him, Luke Lauaili.
the Knights winger. Mapalangi.
Oh, Mapalangi.
He-
Mapalangi. He's pot playing it before.
He's had, yeah, that was a bad game.
Yeah, it was a bad.
He's the first name that came to the top of the head.
Have you got a slap?
You go first.
Shit. Billy Slater.
Billy Slater.
Bit of the bullshit after the game and this and that. Yeah. Own up and just say Matter should have picked a better team.
Yep.
I thought he was outcoached. So
100% he was outcoached. Stuff it. I'll double down because he was outcoached. His selections were
made no sense. And his justifications made no sense.
Yeah. Let's just double down on Billy because why not?
And he got a slap. Finish on a good one.
Did you say the slap?
Salute. God. Shouldn't have had these 8 beers. 10 beers.
What do you...
Salute. You got a salute.
Cleary. To come back, the 2-point field goal, he's good. Shit, he's good.
He's bloody good. And good footballers, get me excited. God, he's bloody good.
Yeah,
I'm going to salute...
I don't want them to win, but shit, it's good watching him.
And we always talk about grading the curve and this and that, but I'm going to salute Craig Bellamy. He's going to win a minor premiership with a team that we were like, how are they going to make the fucking 8? When we sat on my deck 6 months ago.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
and towed up the team we all thought we were going to come.
Any scouts.
Any scout, whoever they may be. A salute to the Melbourne Storm system. This has been Footy and Frothies. Great job. Fucking awesome job, Dane. Let us know you enjoyed it.
Oh, it's great to be back here.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, but it's good to be back. And I just want to mention, because I haven't, condolences to the family and friends of Thirsty Morrow. We've talked about it a bit, but he lost his battle to brain cancer. I actually almost got emotional when they did the before Origin, and rightfully so, did the moment silence. But one of my favourite rugby league commentators, in the conversation with Rabs for my favourite rugby league commentator of all time. So
A lot of people pretty much said the same thing.
yeah, outstanding.
A lot of people have said the
through
same
his
thing.
career with, I think it was back in the day it was Channel 10, but ABC Radio, and since the continuous call to last year he was calling rugby league as good as ever.
Yeah.
And that fucker everything cancer got him in over summer. God bless him. That's why we're here having a beer. Thank you, Thirsty. So I'll end on that note. Outstanding, and we'll be back soon. Leave us some feedback below. Leave us some commentary, and we will do our preview shortly.